with digital cable on a beautiful night with blue sky and sunshine, and enjoying some of that remaining sunlight out in right field is Joel Goldberg.
Yes, it does feel very nice out here. All that rain that I know everybody experienced in Kansas City has gone away. Now, the last time that we were here in Kansas City was last Sunday, and Brian Bannister got a win. And, you know, in talking to him, guys, about that, he was happy with the win, and overall he's okay with some of his stuff. The one thing that has bothered him this year has been the home run ball, and that's something that he's searching for answers on. He's given up about 1.5 home runs every 9 innings. And remember, we've heard him talk about home run to fly ball rate, saying that most pitchers are around 10%. Meaning 10% of every fly ball goes for a homer. In his career, he's at about 9.5%, but this year, 14%. Put it in more perspective, first 8 games, 8 home runs. First 8 games last year, 3 home runs. So we'll keep an eye on that, guys.
All right, thank you, Joel. Here's the defense behind Brian Bannister tonight. Posednik, Meyer, and DeJesus in the outfield, with Cayasco, Betancourt, Aviles, and Butler on the dirt, and Jason Kendall behind the plate. Jim Tracy, his second year as manager of the Rockies, and guided the best turnaround last year in the big leagues. The Rockies going from 18-28 before he took over, which was almost exactly a year ago, to 74-42. Ball one on center fielder Carlos Gonzalez, who is slumping coming into this series. The Rockies just played a series with the Houston Astros, and Gonzalez went 0 for 10 with 5 strikeouts. But he is one of those guys that has been given the label as a 5-tool player, meaning there isn't anything he can't do.
Well, I think when you go in a slump line, the thing you really don't like about it, you don't like the strikeouts. You can take hitting the ball hard and not getting hits, but when you start striking out, that's a bad sign, because now it means you're not seeing the ball.
Pulls it to Aviles, who gets a nice big hop. And Brian Bannister, who's always hoping for those ground ball outs, gets one from Carlos Gonzalez. 72 degrees, and we started right on time at 7:10. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. Remember, if you're thinking about coming out tomorrow, it's a 3:10 game, not a 6:10 game. And then 1:10 on Sunday, and it's supposed to be in the mid to upper 80s the next 2 days. Jason Giambi with some gray strands on his beard. This is his 16th major league season, and batting second.
Well, Jim Tracy really felt that this is a good way to get him some at-bats. You know, even though they get to pinch hit a little bit every night in the National League, he felt like this would be a good opportunity to get him a lot of at-bats and keep him a lot sharper for those pinch-hitting appearances.
14 career home runs here at Kauffman Stadium. This is just his 32nd at-bat of the year. And you figure that he really is not a fit for a National League team, but the Rockies love his presence in the clubhouse, among other things.
Well, outstanding guy, Ryan. Great eye, too, at the plate. That's one thing he has going for him.
Posednik coming in left field. So 2 down. And now Todd Helton to face Brian Bannister.
It never hurts to have winning presence in your locker room, and Jason's been on championship teams, and they bring, when you have veteran guys that can bring that to your ball club and help the young guys along, then managers really like that. It's kind of like Mike Sweeney's presence in Seattle. Even though the championships are not there, he has that winning attitude and that positive attitude every day.
Ball one on Helton. When the Royals swept the Rockies here 2 years ago, one of the keys to that series was holding Todd Helton to 1 for 12. So they pitched him well then, and Bannister pitches him well tonight. Rockies down in order in the first. the Rockies for 3, and then the Rangers for 2. Here's the Royals lineup tonight, presented by M&I Bank, and the Royals had an outstanding road trip. Of the starters that are in there tonight, 6 of the 9 hit at least 300 on the road trip. And then Jose Guillen wasn't far behind. He hit 294 through Baltimore and Cleveland. And tonight the Royals will face right-hander Jason Hamill. Here's the Kia scouting report.
3-0 in his career in interleague play. Ryan won his last start after his turn from the DL, and he's held the Royals to a 172 average in his 5 games versus Kansas City.
And ball 1 to Scott Posednik, who spent the 2008 season with the Rockies, played in 93 games. Posednik hitches 222 on the trip. He also had 3 walks. So his average is down to 302. But he is 4th in the American League with 14 stolen bases. 2-1.
With the middle of the order for the Royals swinging the way they are, it's really imperative that 1, 2, 3 guy get on, because 4, 5, 6 right now are ready to drive them in.
So Posednik hitting 302, and then Mike Avila's hitting 375. So that's a lot of getting on base before 3, 4, 5, and 6. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Talked to Scott before the game tonight and asked him, well, what do you think of your season? Because all told right now, it's been a good start for him as the Royals leadoff man, and he seems somewhat satisfied. But the number that he pointed out that he is not happy with, 29 strikeouts so far in 40 games. And that's a statistic that most leadoff hitters try to stay away from.
Well, this is what Scott does well, Ryan, is that when the ball goes down, he goes down with it. A lot of guys swing over the top of it, so he's able to foul that ball off and get another pitch.
And a curveball goes through the back door. So Posednik is out number 1. Now the Rockies defensively, presented by Suzuki. Ryan Spilborghs with Carlos Gonzalez and Brad Hoff in the outfield. Ian Stewart, Troy Tulowitzki on the left side. Clint Varmus and Todd Helton on the right side. And former Royal Miguel Olivo will call the game tonight for Jason Hamill. Right to Tulowitzki. So 2 up, 2 down against Jason Hamill.
You know, Ryan, just going back a little bit to Scott Posednik, and he's not happy with the strikeouts. A lot of times he goes to 2 strikes. When you go to 2 strikes, being able to stay on the ball, try to put the ball in play. But you saw there was a curveball on the outside corner, and he just kind of gave up on it. So those are the balls you just got to cut your swing down and just try to put the ball in play.
Now David DeJesus, who hit 316 on the trip, and now has hit in 5 straight games. So that goes back to the last homestand. Great night to be at the ballpark, walk around the outfield experience. That's where the waning sunlight is. And it's been a while since we've seen that many fans in short sleeves and shorts. It's been an interesting weather year. The Royals had outstanding weather here the first week of the season, comparatively speaking, and then good weather in Detroit, good weather in Minnesota, all the places you would worry about early in the year. But then after that, it seemed to cool down, and rain, wind, and cool temperatures have been following the Royals.
We had a beautiful last day in Cleveland and came home. It was raining cats and dogs last night.
That's the way we left Kansas City.
We had a beautiful night tonight. A lot of those people walking around, if they're Ryan at the end of the game, they're going to say, what happened? All the kids, I mean, it's such a great experience out there.
DeJesus is down on strikes. 2 strikeouts for Hamill. Kind of stood at the plate like 72 degrees at first pitch, and interleague play with the Royals and the Rockies. No score to the second inning. Both pitchers retiring the side in order. And Troy Tulowitzki, Brad Hopp, and Miguel Olivo coming up against Brian Bannister. A couple of ground balls and a fly out for Banny in the first inning. And that's into center field and the game's first hit. Mentioned it at the top of the show, the Rockies are just 9th in the league in hitting, 7th in home runs, and 8th in runs scored. So they are middle of the pack. But the form chart for them the past few years, slow start, fast finish. And that's ripped into right field. Tulowitzki to third. He's going to challenge to Jesus. David's throw is right there.
This is a cutter here, Ryan. It stays right in the middle of the plate, and Hopp hit this ball hard in the right field. I was pretty surprised Tulowitzki wanted to try to challenge David, but David comes up, great release, one hop. Casper did a good job, and I tell you what, he's winning my heart every day. Every time he dives right back in there on those runners. You dive back in those runners, make it look good. You take a throw that's offline, and all of a sudden it makes it a great play.
There's a couple of things to look at there, Frank. I mean, that's not even close at third base. It's early in the game, and it is a baseball cardinal sin to make the first or third out at third base.
I think a lot of it goes back to their scouting reports on the David's arm and maybe Pasednik's arm in left field, and they want to be aggressive and make them throw them out. But you got to read the speed of the ball off the bat also. Those things play a big part.
0-2 to Miguel Olivo, who's off to a good start.
So with Miguel, we know that he will chase the first pitch going. Sometimes hopefully he can get a cripple fastball on that first pitch. But Banny did a good job moving this ball down away from the bat.
One ball, two strikes. Miggy last year led the Royals in home runs with 23. And that was by far a career high for him. That's 7 more than any other season. And Bannister strikes him out. So 2 down with a runner at first base.
Well, this is how you got to pitch, Miggy. You got to get him up and in with the fastball and get 2 strikes. You have to go down and away with the breaking ball. And Banny pitched him textbook on this at bat.
So 2 down to Ryan Spilborghs. And he's after the first pitch. So that play at third base is a big one now. And now Hopp going for third, but Pasednik will play it to second base. So 3 hits in the inning, but no runs thanks to the Jesus gunning down of Tulowitzki at third base.
That's a Spilborghs. This guy's a good hitter. He's off a little slow this year. We've seen him get some big hits for the Rockies, and he's a guy too. You lead a fastball up out over the plate, then that's his speed. A lot of times he hits a lot of balls to right center field.
And now Ian Stewart, former first-round pick of the Rockies back in 2003. And he's after the first pitch. Wasn't a very hittable pitch. So I'm guessing the scouting report on Brian Bannister was that since he is typically a strike thrower, that he's going to try and jump ahead, and that the Rockies, if it's a hittable pitch, put that ball into play.
Well, the one thing he's done is he's using that cutter. That cutter keeps that fastball moving and keeps action on the ball, and they got up in the Ian Stewart's kitchen right there with that one, and he's going to remember that pitch.
Brian faced the Rockies 2 years ago when the Royals swept the 3-game series and won his start, giving up 3 runs in 7 innings. He walked 6. That's uncharacteristic of him. Last year against the National League, Brian Bannister made 4 starts with an ERA of 2.84. So he did some of his best work against the National League. There's the cutter again, and the count is 2-1 to Stewart. A .271 hitter overall, but .368 in this most clutch of situations. 3 balls, 1 strike. Brian won on Sunday, final game of the last homestand. Royals taking 2 out of 3 from the White Sox. Brian giving up 3 runs in 6 innings through just 84 pitches. And that's pulled to Aviles. So the Rockies come up with 3 hits, but no runs. Presented by Sprint. Which National League team would you like to see at Kauffman Stadium? The Phillies, who have been to the World Series the last 2 years, the Cubs, the Dodgers, who are one of the hottest teams now in baseball, or the Padres, who have been a big surprise. Pull out your cell phone, text 432-432, enter keyword Royals, followed by a space, A for Philly, B for the Cubs, C for the Dodgers, and D for the Padres. You will see the Rockies, the Cardinals, and the Astros this year. And the Royals are traveling to Cincinnati, Washington, and Atlanta. Just a little bit inside. Billy Butler hit .333 on the trip and hit 4 doubles. So he is up to 12 now. And that leads the Royals. Remember, 51 doubles last year for Billy. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Has hit over 300 in his career against the National League. Full count.
Well, Billy's hitting 15 of his last 17 games, Ryan, but when Billy is really fun to watch is when he's driving the ball straightaway center up against the wall, straight right center field up against the wall. Then you really know that he's locked in when he's hitting the ball like that.
Pulled to third, tough hop, but Stewart is able to handle it, and Billy is out number 1. So 4 up, 4 down against Jason Hamill. A reminder to look for the Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment later in tonight's game. No television yesterday in Cleveland. Jose Guillen certainly would have been a candidate with a 2-run home run late to put the game out of reach, and the Royals winning 9-3. Having some fun with Miguel Olivo at the plate. And a curveball's in for a strike. Hamill had strikeouts of Posednik and DeJesus with that curveball in the first. One and one. And it hit him. So Guillen has been a baseball magnet lately, and he's down to first base with 1 out. That's the 3rd time he's been hit by a pitch in the past week.
Going back to Double-A, the Colorado Rockies pitchers have always pitched inside, and they're very aggressive on the inside, and Jose had no chance to get out of the way of this fastball.
And now Alberto Callaspo, who hit 400 in Baltimore and Cleveland. Hit a 3-run home run yesterday. He scored 5 runs and sends that into left center field. Spilborghs from the shadows into the sunlight. Guillen had gone all the way to second base. So he sprints back to first, and there are 2 outs. Don't forget, tomorrow is a 3:10 first pitch, so not the normal 6:10 for the Saturday game. Kyle Davies against Jeff Francis, who is making just his 2nd start after starting the season on the disabled list. Rockies have been hit with injuries, especially to their pitching staff. Jorge De La Rosa, former Royal, is on the DL. Francis was on the DL. Houston Street, their closer, is on the DL. So Hamill is establishing tonight that he will pitch inside, and it's 1-1 to Meyer.
That's one of the things that they do, and they take it all the way down to Double-A, and especially on the 0-1 counts, they like to come inside with their fastballs, and that's just something that the National League, I think, may do a little bit more than the American League.
Ripped into right field and sinking, and a diving play by Brad Hopp. So the Royals are down in the 2nd inning. The Royals alumni are conducting their annual fans batting practice day at Kauffman Stadium. That's on June the 12th. For $300, you can take batting practice on the field with former Royals offering instruction. They'll also pitch to you, and you can stay on the field to take fly balls and ground balls. 816-504-4150 for information. You'll also get a pair of shorts, a t-shirt, and 4 tickets to a Royals game. One ball, one strike to Clint Barmas, number 9 hitter. Batting at just .207. A homegrown Rocky. A couple of years ago, 3 to be exact, when the Rockies surprised everyone and advanced to the World Series, it was pointed out how many of their players were homegrown. And tonight, 6 of the 9 in the starting lineup are originally from the Rockies organization. Betancourt charges and throws out Barmas. 1 down. A reminder again, tomorrow's a 3:10 game, but if you come out early at 1 o'clock, you can watch the 85 Classic presented by Farmland Foods, where members of the Royals 85 World Series team will take on members of the Cardinals 85 team. For details, go to Royals.com/85 Classic or call 1-800-6-ROYALS. Now Carlos Gonzalez, who grounded out to second base in the first inning, so he is 0 for his last 11, but still hitting over 300 at .309. Big-time prospect once upon a time in the Arizona system, and then part of 2 big trades. He went from Arizona Oakland to the deal that sent Dan Herron to the Diamondbacks, and then from Oakland to Colorado in the deal that sent Matt Holliday to the A's. Bannister broke his bat and gets another ground ball to second base from Gonzalez. Now, some pretty big names, and at that time in the Herron trade and pretty much in the Holliday trade as well, no one had really heard of Carlos Gonzalez, but as far as abilities go and potential goes, there aren't many who are better than him in the National League.
Well, you look at a guy struggling. You see a guy hitting .309, you say, this guy's struggling? You don't look at it that way, but like you say, he's got the tools, and to be at the top of the order, hitting .300, that's got to be great for Jim Tracy.
Giambi flied to left in the first inning. And Bannister with the power change jumps ahead, no balls, 2 strikes.
I think when you look at those trades like that, you always want trades to be good for both teams. And I think when you trade a top pitcher, you always want to get a good player back that you can put on the field and say, hey, that was a good trade for us, a good trade for them. And that's where Gonzalez trade looks real good.
3 pitches, down goes Giambi, and the Rockies in order in the 3rd. Girl Dylan Peters of Olathe, who has already made a significant contribution to the community. He wrote an award-winning book called Tick Talk, Living with Tourette's Syndrome. And you remember that former Royals outfielder Jim Eisenreich also deals with Tourette's, wrote the book's foreword. Dylan has spoken to thousands of kids in the Kansas City area on accepting and comforting those who suffer from personal challenges. So we hope he's enjoying the game in Buck's seat right behind home plate as Unievsky Betancourt grounds out to Tulowitzki. One down in the bottom of the third inning. Here's tonight's league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. Only the New York Yankees have a better team batting average in all the major leagues than the Royals. And the Royals in their last 5 games, so the entire road trip, and then the final game of the last homestand, the Royals have had at least 10 hits.
Well, you know the happiest guy on a staff is when you see a team BA like that. You might think it's the manager, you might think it's the general manager, but it's the hitting coach.
That's right. Kendall out on a fly ball to center field. So first time through the order, no hits for the Royals against Jason Hamill. Only one runner. Guillen was hit by a pitch.
That's when a hitting coach sits back, Ryan, and folds his arm and say, "I think they've got it."
Not yet tonight. Still looking for their first hit.
Yeah, being a hitting coach is one of the toughest jobs on a ball club because you got to deal with everybody's personality. Everybody's got a different routine, and you got to learn that routine and learn when to pull back, when to add on. And it's the pitcher coach and the hitting coach, two of the toughest jobs in baseball.
Earlier today on the MLB Network, there's Don Baylor, the hitting coach of the Rockies. They had a 1990 game, the Royals and the Yankees. That was the Bo Jackson game. Denny Treese and Split were calling the game. And Kevin Seitzer was leading off for the Royals back in 1990 with his trademark Southern Illinois mullet going. That was the Bo Jackson Deion Sanders game. Kevin's still unhappy about that mullet.
I was talking to Don Baylor before the game, right? And Don asked me, he said, "When did you, as a young player, when did you think you had arrived in the game?" I said, "When I learned about you and when I figured out how to get out of your way at second base." He was some kind of tough coming into second base.
Sitting next to Paul Phillips, former Royals catcher. So the Rockies have a couple of former Royals behind the plate. Phillips, a former Royals property. There's that curveball. This time Posednik able to put the bat on it. Not a pretty swing, but he stays alive.
You just want to try to foul it off and hope you get a better pitch. But what you do want to do here with 2 strikes, Ryan, is just cut the swing down. If you cut the swing down and just try to play pepper with the infielders and try to use your speed with 2 strikes.
Hamill got Posednik looking at a curveball for strike 3 in the first inning. And struck him out swinging this time. So 3 strikeouts for Hamill and no hits so far for the Royals. Panera Bread. Explore a menu of hearty soups, salads, sandwiches, and breakfast items at Panera Bread. And by Thoroughbred Ford, you'll be surprised at how much more you get at Thoroughbred Ford. Oh, 0-1 to Todd Helton. Royals hitless in the first 3 innings. The Rockies with 3 hits in the second inning alone, but failed to score. The big play in that inning was David DeJesus throwing out Troy Tulowitzki at third base, trying to go first to third. We've had good plays by both right fielders so far. Brad Hopp diving in right field in second inning to take a base hit away from Mitch Meyer. Todd Helton has 1 home run, and this is May the 21st. And grounds it to Aviles again. So Todd Helton in his career at Kauffman Stadium is 1 out of 14. Remember, before and after every game on Fox Sports Kansas City, you can join us for Royals Live as Joel Goldberg brings you the latest Royals news and breaks down the game's action. For complete Royals pre- and post-game coverage, tune into Royals Live on Fox Sports Kansas City. So 1 out and ball 1 on Troy Tulowitzki. Single to center field in the second inning, and then Brad Hopp singled to right. Tulowitzki tried to go first to third. DeJesus gunned him down, and it wasn't even close. Rocky's first round pick in 2005 out of Long Beach State, where he was a teammate of Evan Longoria. How about that team? Man. Myers sprinting back into center field. That hits the bottom of the wall. And Tulowitzki picks up his 14th double of the year, among the National League leaders in that category. And the Rockies have a runner at second base with 1 out.
Well, it's really fun to watch this guy hit, Ryan. He goes down and really digs this ball out and really gets behind it and drives this ball to center field. Just watch him just go down and just balls out away from him, stayed right on it, didn't try to pull it, just hit it straight up the middle of the field. So Mitch didn't have much time to react to this one.
Brad Hopp gets a breaking ball this time around. In the second inning, got a first pitch fastball and lined it into right field. So Kendall and Bannister took note of that. And another ground ball. Mike Aviles has been busy tonight. Hopp is the second out. Tulowitzki moves up to third base. Aviles already has 6 assists tonight.
Well, Vanny's throwing everything at him, Ryan. He's using his changeup, his curveball, his cutter, his fastball. He's making everything move, and really, other than Tulowitzki centering that one, that's the hardest hit ball that he's had against him.
Miguel Olivo struck out swinging in the second inning. Kendall with a nice save. Kind of ironic there that he makes that save with Olivo at the plate and a runner at third.
That was a nice save there, Ryan. The ball was going away from him to his right side, and you think at some point he can't get over there and get in front of him, he'd backhand him, but he kept that hand going and caught that ball before it bounced. That was a nice play.
1 ball, 1 strike. Olivo signed with the Rockies originally to be more of a backup catcher to Chris Iannetta, but Iannetta is in the minor leagues, and now Olivo is the starter. And very similar to here in Kansas City. Originally the backup to John Buck, ended up taking that spot over.
I mean, that's Iannetta, I thought, was a real good hitter last year. Just watching him hit, he had good power in the right center field. And I'd say all it takes is just somebody to come in and start hitting home runs. And managers take note of that. And that's where Miguel Olivo, not only on the hit and run side, he's also great at throwing runners out.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Like Banny's going to try to get him to chase a slider away. He knows that's a weakness, but sometimes you might have to come inside to make that pitch a little more believable to Olivo. But Banny's been out there on every pitch.
Thought about it. Well, it's pretty clear what the Royals want to do to Olivo. They know him, having watched him play the last 2 years. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
And I don't think Banny should change. I don't think he will change. If he changes to give the fastball here, that'd be a mistake. And Olivo will chase that pitch 3-2. You just got to make it a little bit more enticing to him.
That actually stayed out over the plate, but a good result. A pop up to shallow right. De Jesus brings it down, and no harm done after the Tulowitzki double. Jason Hamill. And here's tonight's Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison. Hamill has hit 94. Bannister's hit 93 so far. Fast is even faster. You can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. Mike Aviles, David DeJesus, and Billy Butler coming up. Aviles grounded out to short in the first inning. That was his first ever at bat against Jason Hamill. Hamill has faced the Royals, and that was with the Tampa Bay Rays. The Royals have seen him 4 times, only once as a starter. Going to say that Aviles committed on that pitch. 2 balls, 1 strike. Three and 1. David DeJesus next, and then Billy Butler.
I guess you can go back to the Rays. I guess you can say, how about those Rays? They could take it a roll. Get the 30th win.
Yeah, 5-game lead over the Yankees. Leadoff walk, and only the second base runner for the Royals. And for Mike Aviles, his first walk. Well, we hope you'll come out on Tuesday, June the 1st, when the first 20,000 fans receive a T-shirt celebrating the 1985 World Series 25th anniversary, presented by AT&T. It's the second of a 6 T-shirt Tuesday throughout the season. So get your tickets and collect all 6. Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. David struck out swinging in the first inning. 3 strikeouts for Hamill, all with the curveball. Hamill carrying a 7.71 ERA in tonight, but it's interesting looking at him start by start. 3 of his first 5 starts, he has gone at least 7 innings. And then he has 2 starts where he's gone 3 1/3 or less. So he's either gone really deep or hardly gone into the game at all. Spent some time on the disabled list almost a month ago. Was shut down because of an injured right groin. Aviles has attempted 2 stolen bases, thrown out both times, and the Royals are 5th in the American League in stolen bases this year, but we'll wait and see how much they want to challenge Miguel Olivo.
Well, that's going to be the decision, and if you got a catcher that can throw and a pitcher that's quick to the plate, then you might switch from a straight out steal to maybe a hit and run situation.
Line caught, double play. So 2 quick outs for Hamill and the Rockies, and let's go down to Joel.
Brian, the Royals don't face the Rockies a whole lot. Was talking to Kevin Seitzer. I asked him first off, you glad that you don't see Ubaldo Jimenez, who at this point is 8-1 with a 0.99 ERA, potential Cy Young candidate? He said, yeah, I'm excited not to see him. I said, well, fans would like to see him. And he said, well, good. Go to Denver and buy a ticket. I'm happy that he pitched last night. He won't pitch in this series. But as for Jason Hamill, he said it's important not to take the high ERA for granted. This guy does have good stuff, and you can't give him too much credit, but you don't want to underestimate him. Well, now after all that, the guy that they won't face who has a no-hitter this year, Ubaldo Jimenez, Jason Hamill, let's jinx it, has a no-hitter.
Nice, Joel. Great work.
Thank you.
Well, when you do it, it works for the Royals. When I do it, it works against the Royals. That's got YouTube written all over it, Joel.
Well, this is when Billy's at his best, and Joel jinxed Hamill on this pitch here, and Billy stayed right behind it and drove the ball to right field. And when Billy's in this position right here, that's when he's at his best. The first time up, he rolled over, hit a ground ball to third base.
Now 0-1 on Jose Guillen, hit by a pitch in the second inning. And now drilled into deep left center field. Back goes Spilborghs, and the Royals take a 2-0 lead.
About the middle of that order. We talked about how Jose Guillen, when he's hot, he can carry the team for a little bit. This is when Jose Guillen showed you how to hit a hanging slider that just left out over the plate. He kept his hands back and really slapped this ball really well. And this ball went in the left center field for a home run. As you can see right here, he gets out a little bit, he hesitates, but then he keeps those hands back. He gets extended. Then everything's behind their swing. So you leave that breaking ball up out over the plate for certain guys. They know exactly what to do with it.
Iaspo's out on a ground ball to short. So Jose Guillen hits a 2-run home run in his second straight game, and the Royals are in front. run from Jose Guillen, and the Royals have a 2-0 lead as we go to the 5th inning. And the Royals getting power in the last couple of games. And going back to the game against the Orioles and Kevin Miller, remember he finally gave up a hit and the floodgates opened up? Royals get their first hit. Next thing you know, they have 2 runs tonight.
Well, it seems like it's been followed by a home run that really gets that offense going. And I think it's really nice that the Royals are getting that offense out of the middle of the order, because that's how you win ball games. That middle order is hitting, then they're driving in big runs for you. And when they start hitting 2- and 3-run homers, that makes it even nicer.
Past Cayaspo, backhanded Betancourt, and Butler handles the 1-hop. Ryan Spilborghs is out number 1.
Well, this is the kind of defense we've been seeing out of the Royals, Ryan. When the pitchers are throwing strikes and putting the ball in play, Betancourt goes over and makes a nice backhand play, and Billy does a good job of getting down and looking for this long hop.
And now Ian Stewart, who grounded out to second base. There have been 6 ground outs to Mike Aviles already tonight. Of the 13 outs so far for Brian Bannister, 8 have been on the ground. And now it will be 9. And the 7th assist already for Aviles. So he's been busy. 2 down.
Banning's doing a good job with that cutter, and he's done a good job keeping the ball down, and that's how he's getting those ground balls. A lot of those ground balls, Ryan, have been right off the end of the bat.
And now Clint Barmas, who is out on a ground ball to short in the 3rd inning. He was the Rockies' shortstop until Troy Tulowitzki came along, and a guy who can play all over the field. Talking earlier about all the Rockies that are homegrown, their postseason roster in 07 when they went to the World Series, 17 of 25 had come through the Rockies system.
That'll make your player development real happy, and the scouts that go out and scout these guys when they're signed, they've got to be happy about that. And you want to be able to bring your guys up to the major leagues, and you also want to bring them up and they all become winners, and that just builds for a great future for your organization.
They got hot in 2007 late. They won 14 of their last 15. And then after being 10 games below 500 early last year, then they went on a run where they were 32 games above, and they won the wild card. Brian Bannister gets 3 ground ball outs in the 5th. games, and then back to the American League with the longer stretches coming up in June. One ball, one strike to Mitch Meyer. Lost an extra base hit when Brad Hopp went diving and took a hit away from him in right field. Two balls, one strike.
Okay, pitch one, Ryan, you see is well out of the zone for a fox strikes. And here's pitch number two in the same place.
So Wally Bell is thinking outside the bun. Two and two.
It just goes to show you, eyes don't always see what you think they see.
Says that's over the inside. So the fourth strikeout for Hamill, the first time with a fastball. One down. And speaking of the beginning of interleague play, in our Cabot Woodstein legendary performance back in '97, the Royals lost their first ever interleague game 5-3 to the Pirates. Jose Guillen and Jason Kendall started for the Pirates in that game. So did that lady. No, just kidding. Betancourt out on a fly ball to left field, so he is 0 for 2. But there was a third person with the Royals connection. Look at that young Joe Randa there. Kendall looks exactly the same, doesn't he? Maybe a little younger, but Joe Randa and Jose Guillen. That was, wow, 13 years ago. Interleague play is now in its 14th season.
It changes almost every year, the format for it. And, you know, you always live for that Cardinal Royal back and forth, but we don't have that this year.
Cardinals coming to Kansas City. No home and home this year. One and one. Jason Kendall flied to center in the third inning. The Royals were without a hit through 3 1/3 innings, but Billy Butler singled, and then Jose Guillen hit a 2-run home run. Jason Kendall, who has spent a large portion, the majority of his career in the National League, has always done well against the Rockies. A .355 hitter against Colorado. Gets underneath it. It's a long run for Gonzalez, but he's there, and that's the inning. Can't even hardly. Solutions start at steeldealers.com. And by Chevrolet, come see for yourself why 1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy. See your Kansas City area Chevy dealer. Very pleasant night at the ballpark. Hey, there's a University of Minnesota hat. You see that?
Titleist.
No, but there's a no. Let's go to the tape. I don't know if we ever see. I'm telling you. I don't know if we ever see a replay of a fan in the stands, but he turned his head to the side, and I know what a Minnesota M looks like. Thank you. Thank you.
That might be Wisconsin upside down, huh?
Well, most of Wisconsin is upside down. Right, Joel?
Well, your mom did go to school in Wisconsin, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
All right, you brought that up to me. Where's Oshkosh? Where do you think Oshkosh is? It's a great state. Back to you.
Yeah, that's great. Sarah Palin wants her glasses back. Carlos Gonzalez now 0 for his last 12. He has grounded out to second twice tonight. Did he go? He did. So he's 0 for his last 13, and Brian Bannister has struck out his third of the game. Here's tonight's AT&T trivia question. Who is the Royals' all-time batting average leader in interleague action? That sounds better than interleague games. Interleague action.
Yeah, that does sound better.
Giambi 0 for 2 with a strikeout. th Major League season for Jason Giambi, 410 career home runs. Got off to a very slow start with the Oakland A's last year, going back to his original organization. He was released and picked up by the Rockies. Glad to have his bat and his experience. And now back again. So this is where interleague play, at least in the American League cities, can benefit the National League. Get an extra bat in the lineup that normally wouldn't be playing. Meyer brings it down, so Giambi is 0 for 3. And the top three hitters in the batting order tonight for the Rockies are 0 for 8. Well, we hope you'll stay after the game when the Royals take on the Tigers Friday, June the 4th for the KC Sky Show. It's a special effects, video, music, and mind-bending magic and fireworks spectacular. Wow. The Sky Show is 5 times the length of a regular Fireworks Friday. Features master illusionist Michael Grandinetti, and brought to you by Hy-Vee Pepsi and 106.5 The Wolf. That sounds pretty exciting.
I like magic. Now, we caught that in Toronto coming from dinner one time. The guy was doing that magic show out there on the walkway. That was fun to watch.
Maybe the best I've ever seen. Or maybe we got into some bad shellfish that night and we weren't really seeing what we were seeing.
They say the hand's quicker than the eye.
3-1 on Helton. 2 ground balls to second base so far for him. And a rare 3-ball count tonight for Brian Bannister. Full count.
Well, he's been making great pitches all night and inducing a lot of ground balls here. This ball's right on the lower half on the outside corner, and just a tough pitch for Helton on 3-1. Now 3-2, he might have to try to foul this pitch off. He can't afford to take it when it's that close.
Got in on the hands. Betancourt backing up in his shallow left. 2-hand grab. Rockies down in order. Bannister's retired the last 8. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Thoroughbred Ford. The best deals on a new F-150 is at Thoroughbred Ford. 2-0 Royals on Jose Guillen's 2-out, 2-run home run in the 4th. Posednik, Aviles to Jesus coming up in the 6th. And Scott Posednik has had a bad time tonight against Jason Hamill. He has struck out twice, both on the curveball, once looking and once swinging.
And what do you think the first pitch he got was?
The hook. Into left center. Gonzalez makes a very casual catch. Tonight's AT&T trivia question. Who is the Royals' all-time batting average leader in interleague action? I'm going to say Joe Randa. How about you, Frank? What do you think?
I think Joe looks pretty good.
342, and that's in 91 games. Ball 1 to Mike Aviles. Out on a ground ball to short, and he is reached with a walk. On the corner, says home plate umpire Wally Bell. Two balls, one strike. Royals with 2 hits all night. And they were back-to-back with 2 outs in the 4th inning. A Billy Butler single and a Jose Guillen home run. Otherwise, Jason Hamill has been cruising tonight. That is out of play off to the right field side. This season, it's easier than ever to find the seats you want or sell the tickets to the games you can't make on StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Royals. You'll find great seats and great service on StubHub all season. Hamill retired the first, or rather 9 of the first 10, and now he's retired the last 5 since the Guillen home run. In the first 3 innings, all the Royals had was Jose Guillen on base because he was hit by a pitch, then a walk in the 4th. De Jesus lined into a double play, so 2 outs, nobody on. Billy Butler singled, Jose Guillen homered. 3-2.
Well, he does have good stuff, Ryan. When you look at his fastball and the movement on it, and you look at his hard slider that he has a good curveball. He did make 2 mistakes in that 1 inning. He left the fastball out over the plate to Billy, and he hit for a base hit and hung the slider to Jose Guillen.
Avila stays alive. Well, a 7.71 ERA coming into the game, but coming off a very good start. Saturday, he beat the Nationals 4-3, going 7 innings, giving up 3 runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts, and Aviles looked like he hurt himself as he strikes out, chasing a pitch that almost hit him. 5 strikeouts for Hamill.
Well, I think he thought he was hit by this pitch. When you see the reaction here, it's almost like he was trying to swing, and then at some point he was trying to get out of the way in the middle of that swing. Watch his head, watch his upper shoulders. He sees the ball, he wants to hit it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got to get out of the way of this pitch.
Hit hard past Tulowitzki. David DeJesus just scalded one in the 4th inning, but hit it right to Helton at first for a double play. But gets this one by Tulowitzki.
Well, when David stays behind the ball that direction, the good thing about that one there, Ryan, it didn't slice back. It just stayed straight on the line, right up the middle. But David's got a really nice swing when he does it. When everything goes right, he's got a beautiful swing to watch.
Speaking of
Billy,
beautiful swing to watch, here's Billy Butler, 1 for 2 with a run scored. Down to first, didn't get him. It was close, however.
Well, Miguel, they got to watch. He's got David taking that one extra half step, and it almost cost him right there. He's got, when that right foot plants, he's got to stay still until that ball passes the hitter. David slid out just a little bit more, and Miguel Olivo tried to take advantage of it.
That might have been similar to the play the other night in Baltimore where the tag was on the dirt, and the tag beat the hand, but the tag just didn't hit the hand. Scott Posednik stealing second base in Baltimore, and looked like he was out, and the tag was down. It was on the dirt, but Posednik was able to get his hand around the glove and was called safe.
That prompted you to say that dirt was out.
The dirt was out.
But, you know, there was a time in baseball where if the throw beat you out, you know, the tag didn't have to be exact and didn't have to be perfect. And the umpires today go through great pains to make sure you make that tag.
That's 6 strikeouts now for Hamill. Jose Guillen with a 2-out, 2-run home run in the bottom of the 4th inning, his second 2-run home run in the last 2 games. Jason Hamill otherwise has pitched very well tonight, and Brian Bannister with 10 ground ball outs in his first 6 innings. He has given up 4 hits, but only 1 since the 2nd inning. Tulowitzki, Hop, and Olivo in the 7th inning. Bannister has retired 13 of the last 14. And the one man to reach in that stretch is Tulowitzki, who doubled in the 4th inning and now fights that one into center field. And Brian got it just enough in on the hands, and Tulowitzki is out for the first time. So not much for the Rockies so far tonight. They did have 3 hits and no runs in the 2nd inning. Tulowitzki is the only one with 2 hits. Brad Hopp, who digs in now, has a hit. Ryan Spilborghs, and that's it. Hop single to right in the second inning, and on that play, Troy Tulowitzki was at first. He tried to go first to third. David DeJesus threw him out, and that turned that inning around. The Rockies ended up getting another hit in the inning, but because of DeJesus, they failed to score. Two and one. Two and two. Brian does not have a ground ball out against his last 4 hitters, but 10 against the first, or 10 for the first 15 outs. So only 6 in the air and 3 strikeouts, no walks. Back to Bannister. So there's a ground ball out. 2 down.
You know, pitchers, if you're going to hit the ball back through the middle, they'd rather have you hit it to their glove side. They can see it, they can react to it, and Brian Bannister did a good job catching that ball. That's not an easy play for a pitcher because, first of all, he's got to set himself. The ball's coming uphill. He's got to have the exact right angle to the ball to make that play.
So he's retired 15 of the last 16. He has struck out Miguel Olivo, and Miguel has flied to right. Miguel in his career a .398 hitter against the Royals, and before joining the Royals was a .400+ hitter here at Kauffman Stadium, and then after all the games here the past 2 years that went down. But as an opposing player before 2008, he was right in between .420 and .430 when he hit here at Kauffman Stadium. And the Royals subscribing to the theory, if you can't beat him, have him join you. They signed Olivo. Two and two. Still 2 and 2. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre with Frank White, Joel Goldberg, producer Kevin Schenk, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Sam Abramson, Al Broughton, and the producer of Royals Live is T.J. McGinnis. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes.
If Miguel catches the next 2 games of this series, facing Kyle Davies and Zach Greinke, he's going to be seeing sliders in his sleep.
Very close pitch. Olivo lays off it, and that is Bannister's first walk.
Well, he walked him right, but he did a good job of keeping the ball down, and Bannister's really not missing by much right here. As you can see by the grid, that's one of the few times that you saw a lot of balls all over the grid at that point. So maybe he's just centering the ball in that zone that he really wants. He might be losing just a little bit at this time.
Comes back and nails the outside corner. This is the highest pitch count for Brian in any single inning. He had 15 in the 4th and in the 6th. And his next pitch to Spilborghs will be number 17 in this inning and number 90 in the game. So a very good pitch count. And it's chopped to the left side. Callaspo going to have to hurry. He got him. 7 scoreless innings for Brian Bannister. Jose Guillen will lead off the bottom of the 7th. His 2-run home run has put the Royals in front. 2-0 to the bottom of the 7th inning. And Panera takes us around the American League. Cincinnati in front of Cleveland. The Indians have lost 4 in a row, just swept by the Royals. Baltimore and Washington, the Beltway rivalry. Philadelphia hosting Boston. Red Sox have won 3 in a row, so they are up over 500. Atlanta and Pittsburgh. How about that comeback for the Braves yesterday, getting 7 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Jose Guillen again, deep into left field, hooking. It is a fair ball and his 2nd home run of the game. That was also Jose's 1,500th career hit. So Jose had gone a long time without hitting a home run before yesterday. And sometimes home runs come in bunches, and now he has 3 in the last 2 games.
Well, what's so neat about that at bat, Ryan, he started him off with the same pitch, hit the home run off on the first time up, and then it comes back with a fastball right after that, and Jose just dropped the head of the bat down on this ball, and this ball went a long way.
Barmes can't come up with the ground ball from Callaspo. Callaspo is 1 for 3.
I mean, he's one of the few guys that can do this. You can see just how fast he got the bat head down on this fastball on the inner half. And he knew right away that ball was going to be out of the ballpark. He didn't quite know it was going to be fair or foul, but you see where that ball landed, well back in the second section back there. I mean, he really got the hit on this ball.
It's the 14th time in Jose's career he has hit 2 home runs in a game, and the 2nd time this year. Callaspo hustling to get around Barmes. So Meyer is out. But Callaspo moves up to second base, and Meyer is 0 for 3. Randy Flores just starting to play catch out in the left field bullpen. So 2 home runs allowed by Hamill, and he had only allowed 2 home runs coming into the game, and that was over 25 innings. So he's down 3-0, but overall has still pitched a very good game. He has struck out 6. He's still only given up 5 hits. 0-1 on Yuniesky Betancourt. Guillen, the only Royal with 2 hits. They go along with DeJesus, Butler, and Callaspo.
Yeah, Ryan, to give you an idea, that ball Jose Guillen hit the straightaway left field 411 feet. You just don't see that straightaway left field, straightaway right field too often.
That's it, 411?
That's all.
Man, I mean, it seemed a lot farther than that. Those people there, I mean, they're not expecting to get a souvenir. Betancourt is rolled to short, flied out to left field. One and two. Interesting with the Royals hitting 2 home runs, and you think, well, the Rockies at Coors Field, they give up a lot of home runs, right? Not necessarily. The Rockies in National League games are tied for allowing the fewest home runs in the National League. Did you ever think you would see the day where this late into the season, and we're past the first quarter mark, that the Rockies, well, first of all, they're 5th in the league in ERA, and before tonight, tied for the fewest home runs allowed in the National League.
Well, might it be a result of the fact that the pitchers are keeping the ball down? And Coors Field is a big ballpark. And possibly when it's cool there, the ball doesn't travel quite as well as it does when it's hot, because all we heard about when Coors Field first came into existence was how fast the ball traveled out, how much speed you need to have in the outfield, and you didn't know whether to play deep, whether to play in. There was a lot of confusion about how to even play that big outfield.
Also, a few years ago, they designed and built a gigantic humidor, and they started storing the balls in there so they wouldn't dry out and be as hard. So they're softer and a little heavier. Cayaspo holds at second. Betancourt is out, and there are 2 down. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, it's a primetime special edition with the Yankees and the Mets, or the Cubs and the Rangers. 6 p.m. Central for the first pitch, presented by Budweiser, and because of that late start, we're able to televise tomorrow at 3:10. Fox Saturday Baseball comes up after This Week in Baseball at a special time. Check your local listings for the game and start time in your area. Kendall has flied to center twice, 0 for 2. So the Royals with 6 outs to go on defense. Brian Bannister with 7 scoreless innings, only 90 pitches. And the Royals with a 3-run lead. Hoping to add to that with Cayaspo at second base and Jason Kendall, who this year has actually been a better hitter in the last 3 innings of the game than he has been in the first 3 or the middle 3. One ball, 2 strikes. Jason Hamill also has a very respectable pitch count tonight. He is still under 90. Line to right field, base hit. Cayaspo coming around third, and he will beat the throw. The Royals have a 4-0 lead. So Kendall comes through late again.
Jason doesn't try to do too much here, Ryan. He really tries to go the other way, right field up the middle. He sees hit, stays on this ball, and he just stays right with it, hit it right where it was pitched. Nice line drive into right field. Helton had a shot at it. He jumped, and Eddie Rodriguez, I mean, he's just going to score 2 outs. He's going all the way. He's got to throw Alberto Castro out at the plate right here.
So it'll be Flores on to face Posednik with 2 outs, and our Chevy call to the bullpen. Out single to score Alberto Callaspo and put the Royals in front 4-0 and knock Jason Hamill out. Veteran lefty Randy Flores is in, and he'll get Scott Posednik. Scott happy to see Hamill in the clubhouse. 0 for 3 against him with a couple of strikeouts. Now Posednik trying to get Kendall to the plate. Royals have scored 3 of their 4 runs tonight with 2 outs, and Posednik kind of shuffling his feet and fouls it off to the left field side.
Well, Scott Posednik says when he shuffles his feet, Ryan, it feels like he's getting out too fast and his hands are dragging with him. By shuffling his feet, it forces him to kind of stay back and help the load on his backside, and you see the ball a little bit longer.
Curveball hangs high. Scott has faced Randy Flores 3 times, and he's 1 for 3, but Flores has struck him out a couple of times. And now Flores and Miguel Olivo having difficulty deciding what to throw on 1-1. Still shaking him off. No. How many pitches does he have?
That was going to be my question.
Combination of signs with a runner at second base so that the runner can't pick up the sign and relay it to the hitter.
Those guys at second base a couple times, if they try to get the sign and can't get the sign, a lot of times they'll just give location by either they put their right hand on their right knee. They got little things they can do in order to do that. But a lot of hitters prefer not to know. I think it's always better not to know myself. But knowing location is different than not. You say, okay, I think I got the pitch, but it might not be that right pitch. But location is a lot better, I think, than the pitch itself.
And Posednik takes a walk. So the Vilas coming up. That might be the only guy that Flores was in to face. And Jim Tracy is out again. And a familiar face, a familiar name will be coming out of the bullpen. Rafael Betancourt. The Royals have seen plenty of him when he was with the Indians. So Betancourt to face Aviles in our Chevy call to the bullpen when we come back. For the Royals take on the Tigers Friday, June the 4th for the KC Sky Show. It's a special effects, video, music, and mind-bending magic and fireworks spectacular. The Sky Show is 5 times the length of a regular Fireworks Friday. Features master illusionist Michael Grandinetti and is brought to you by Hy-Vee, Pepsi, and 106.5 The Wolf. At a fireworks spectacular after the game tonight. Rafael Betancourt, the former Cleveland Indian, will face Mike Aviles. An ERA over 6 and opponent's batting average of almost .330. Royals have scored 2 in the inning. Jose Guillen has hit his 2nd home run of the game. And Jason Kendall has driven in Alberto Callaspo. Now Kendall at 2nd, Posednik at 1st. For 2 tonight. Aviles has walked. He is 2 for 4 against Betancourt. Now, it's interesting, before the first pitch, Miguel Olivo went out and went through defensive signals, letting them know where he would throw if the runners go. And you think, why would the runners go here? But Rafael Betancourt is one of the slowest in the league in coming to the plate. So just to make sure he has all of his bases covered, no pun intended, Olivo wants everyone to know where he's going to throw. No balls, 2 strikes.
Well, looking at the 2 base runners the Royals have out there, Kendall and Posednik, what do you think his sign would be? His sign would be, I'm going to 3rd.
Sometimes, though, the runner at first base is lagging behind because he's keeping an eye to see if the runner at 3rd goes, so it doesn't always get the same jump.
Not always, but when you got Posednik speed, they'll always go after the slowest guy.
Now, Levo came jumping out of his crouch there, so if that pitch comes through, he was going to throw somewhere.
He was ready to throw. I would assume first base would be where he would be looking to go. Now, Mike's had some pretty good pitches to hit. He's taken that pitch. We've seen him and hit it down the right field line when he keeps his hands back. He gets on. He's good at getting on the same plane as that high fastball.
He's still thinking about throwing down to first base. Shallow left field. Out goes Tulowitzki. It drops. So Aviles drives in Kendall, and the Royals have a 5-0 lead in the 7th inning.
This is a great piece of hitting by Mike. This is a slider. This ball is almost on the ground on the outer half, and he just stays out over the top of it and loops it back into left field. It's an outstanding piece of 2-strike hitting.
So 1st and 3rd, 2 outs for David DeJesus. David 1 for 3. He's also lined into a double play. So he had 2 good swings against Jason Hamill. But David's biggest contribution tonight was on defense back in the 2nd inning.
Well, he came up with a strike to Alberto Callaspo at 3rd base, was offline just a little bit, but he came up, charged it aggressively, got rid of the ball, and gave Alberto a chance to not only catch the ball, but dive back in and make the tag on Tulowitzki going to 3rd.
Our defensive play of the game brought to you by the Home Depot, doing more on defense. 1 ball, 1 strike. Of all the Royals on the current roster, David DeJesus has seen Betancourt the most, but he is 1 for 10. Line, base hit right field. It's a 6-0 Royals lead. A 4-run bottom of the 7th inning, and 3 of the runs coming with 2 out.
Well, I say when David's on, he's on. This fastball out over the plate, he just looks it past Helton at first base. His ball is really rocketed through there. Hop came in with the throw, but nowhere to throw it at, no play. It's amazing how the Royals have been able to follow a home run with a barrage.
And it all started with a Guillen home run to left field, and Callaspo singled, then 2 outs. So a run home, 2 outs. Then Kendall driving in Callaspo. Posednik walked. Aviles has driven in Kendall, and now DeJesus has scored Posednik. And waiting on deck is Jose Guillen, who started all of this. To short, Tulowitzki will go the short way. Royals bat 9. Jose Guillen was the first man up. This is his 2nd home run of the game. And the Royals score 4 in the 7th inning. Gotcha. Six to nothing Royals, and Brian Bannister with 7 scoreless innings. He is tonight's Miller Lite.
Well, you got to give him everything tonight, Ryan. He's done a great job of just mixing an assortment of pitches up against the Rockies tonight. A lot of balls off the end of the bat, a lot of weak ground balls, and he's got a total going into this inning of 12 ground balls.
0-1 to Ian Stewart. That was pitch number 91 for Banny. The 8, 9, and 1 hitters coming up. And they're a combined 0 for 7. Stewart has grounded out to second twice. And now he singles into right field. Something to consider. Brian was just rolling along, and so was Jason Hamill for most of the game. So that really helps the pitchers get into a rhythm. Well, you're getting later into the game. Brian's thrown over 90 pitches, and he had to sit for a while. He didn't mind with the Royals scoring 4 runs, but a couple of pitching changes, the Royals batting 9. So sometimes it's late in the game. A pitcher will lose his rhythm, and Blake Wood is warming up just in case.
Just look for the height of the ball. He left that pitch up to Ian Stewart. So if he starts to get up in the zone, that's a good indication, Ryan, that maybe a little fatigue is starting to set in. And like you say, maybe it's just the long wait. and then just get him out of rhythm.
And that's drilled to deep left field. Posednik is back, and that is gone. So Clint Barmas hits his 3rd home run of the year, and it's a 6-2 game.
I think this pitch will really tell you, Ryan. It's the 2nd hitter in a row. Vanny's been up a little bit in the zone, and this is where you get hit here. When you lose your rhythm and lose your release point, and you keep it up out over the plate, and that's where the ball usually ends up to the right hitter.
Bob McClure out to have a chat with Vanny and the entire Royals infield. Replay returns with an all-new season. 2 high school hockey teams from 1999 reunite 11 years later in Hockeytown. Follow the journey of Catholic Central versus Trenton. ReplayTheSeries.com. And just to put it into perspective, what a pitcher goes through when they have to sit for a long time, imagine if someone were to tell you you need to run 9 50-yard sprints. And for the first 7, you wait a minute in between each sprint, then run the next one. And then in between 7 and 8, you have to wait 15 minutes. Well, your legs are going to be much heavier than they were just because of the longer time in between. And that's a little bit of what Bannister went through at the Royals' long bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, a little stiffness start to set in. You hope that those 8 pitches you get in between innings kind of get you back in rhythm. But like you say, this late in the game, it could take its toll.
1-1 on Gonzalez. 0 for 3 tonight. And now he's 0 for his last 13 with 6 strikeouts. Look out. That was quite a bat toss and may have gotten someone on the side of the head. Boy. So a good pitch by Bannister. That doesn't happen unless the hitter is badly fooled, but very dangerous when that bat goes into the seats. It's not like a baseball. It's much more difficult to get out of the way of a spiraling bat than it is a baseball.
Yeah, it's coming in there like a helicopter blade, and it's hard, like you say, Ryan, it's hard to get out of the way, but it would have been in Baltimore, they probably would have hit an empty seat.
4 strikeouts for Bannister, so he comes back after the 2-run home run. And Gonzalez is 0 for 4.
Well, the first 2 hitters, he was up, and now he's starting to get in a little rhythm, Ryan, and get the ball down, and he's below the zone, but that's better than being up above the zone.
By the way, it was a little girl that was hit on the side of the head by the bat. And they're going to take her to first aid, but she's walking on her own. And then she just went running on her own up the steps. So she's saying, look, if we're going to go to first aid, let's get this over with because I want to come back and watch the game.
And bring my bat with you.
She got her Billy Butler jersey on, so she appears to be just fine. And now Giambi goes into the left field corner. So the Rockies in the first 7 innings, no runs, 4 hits. And now in the 8th inning, they have 2 runs on 3 hits. Giambi is 1 for 4. And Ned Yost wants to make sure that this thing doesn't get out of hand. So Brian over 100 pitches. He is still going to get a big ovation as he pitched very well tonight, getting some run support. Fans are already standing up to cheer him back to the dugout. He leads with a 4-run lead. last year and a very good start tonight. He's not happy with himself right now, but a very good effort for Banning. You Call It, presented by Sprint. We asked you which National League team you would like to see at Kauffman Stadium. 33% want to see the Cubs. There are Cubs fans everywhere, thanks to the Superstation in front of the Dodgers and the Phillies. Phillies in first place in the East. The Dodgers 1 game back in the West, but they've won 9 of their last 10. Butler Fields underhands to Blake Wood. And that is out number 2. So Blake Wood trying to bounce back. He allowed the home run to Corey Patterson in the bottom of the 8th inning on Tuesday in Baltimore. Zach Greinke had gone the first 7 innings. The Royals had a 1-run lead in the 8th, and Baltimore ended up winning that game in 10 innings. Prior to that, Blake Wood had allowed next to nothing. So Todd Helton 0 for 4. And now he is 1 out of 16 at Kauffman Stadium. Good pitch over the outside to Troy Tulowitzki. Clint Barmas has hit a 2-run home run in the inning. Giambi has doubled. He's standing at third base. That's an awkward swing on a nasty pitch. It's 0-2.
Well, that's a sinker running down to your back leg. You don't see this too often from a right-hander. But you see how it just starts to bite down and in, and he had to try to clear that front leg out of the way and still swing at it. I'm surprised that he even swung at that pitch right there.
Back to Wood. So he gets the job done, and the Rockies scored just the 2 in the 8th inning. Meyer coming up, and a new pitcher warming up is Esmiel Rogers, originally from the Diamondbacks organization and originally an infielder. Moved to the mound in 2006, and when you move to the mound after being a position player, you can almost guarantee one thing, and the guy has a great arm. We'll expect to see some heat from Rogers in the bottom of the 8th. After the game, of course, it's Boulevard Royals Live. Let's get a preview from Joel.
Well, obviously, guys, a lot to talk about tonight. We will talk about a big one for Jose Guillen, who has now hit homers in 3 straight at-bats dating back to yesterday. Jason Kendall coming through late again at the plate. Lots of highlights, lots of interviews, American League scoreboard, and much more coming up from Rivals, plus fireworks as well. We will see you after the game, guys.
All right, thank you, Joel. And here is Jose Guillen. Hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning. a 2-run home run in the 4th, and a solo in the 7th. There you go, 96 from Esmiel Rogers. One ball, one strike. So Jose with 11 home runs, and that's already 2 more than he hit all of last year. Two balls, one strike. And no surprise, if you look at Jose's career numbers against Colorado, he has a .336 average. 3 balls, one strike. Think of Guillen as an American League player, but you remember he came up through the Pirates organization, played 3 years there. He's played with Arizona, a couple of years with Cincinnati, 2 years with Washington. So he's seen his share of the National League. 3-2.
Makes you wonder if Jose scared him off the inside corner. When they miss, he's really been able to get him. Here, Rogers has been away this whole at bat.
So Jose down to first with a leadoff walk. And let's take a look at his home runs tonight. There are Chevrolet plays of the game.
Well, back in the 4th, Jose picks on a slider and drives it in the left center field for a 2-run homer to put the Royals on the board. Then coming back in the 7th, another home run down the left field line, high and deep, 411 feet from home plate.
And now Jose is out as Willie Bloomquist will run for him. And Mike Swanson, Royals vice president, just came into the booth and handed me this baseball, which was Jose's 2nd home run tonight and career hit number 1,500. So, Swanee, we get to hold this before Jose does. Let's see. Frank's got his Sharpie here.
I can sign it. I've got another ball here too. We can switch baseballs.
I'm going to give Swanee a heart attack.
You know, we always do. The trainer always takes the ball and put it in his bag. You never see that they give a ball that's all messed up. You're like, well, here's your ball.
Yeah, the switch. Which one is it? Well, it's this one because this one's rubbed up. So thanks, Swanee.
Yeah, a lot of times you have to switch 2 balls for 1 to get that one back. You go to the fan and say, I'll give you 2 new balls for that 1 ball, and he gives it back.
So this will go on Jose's mantle.
1,500. That's a big number.
Thanks, Swanee. Caspo with another base hit. He has 2. And Bloomquist will go first to third. So the Royals trying to get those runs back. And the Royals 1 hit away from their 6th straight game with at least 10.
Just take a look, Ryan, at Alberto Caspo's top hand. I mean, this top hand really gets through this ball. I mean, he does a good job. When that ball is middle in, it can be up or down. He really does a good job of getting that body out of the way and really finding those hands through. And Bloomquist does a great job going first to third on a hard hit ball to right field.
So Willie safe at third, safe and secure. New York life. And Mitch Meyer going after the first pitch from Rogers. 0 for 3, but lost a hit on a dive by Brad Hopp in right field in the 2nd inning. It's another one of those games where the Royals have really spread out the offense. Of course, Guillen has driven in 3, but 5 different Royals have scored a run. 1, 2, 3, 4 Royals have driven in a run. And there are only 2 in the starting lineup who haven't been on base at least once. Gets away from Olivo. Down from third comes Bloomquist. 7-2 Royals.
this is a change up here. This is the one that Olivo's got to get that body over there and try to block this ball, but it went off the end of his glove. If you can't get that body over in front, you got to try to backhand and try to knock it down. But this ball gets by Miguel Olivo and Blomquist scores.
Now 1-2 to Meyer. Rolls away from Olivo, but Cayaspo holds at second base with nobody out in a 5-run game. Royals yesterday winning 9-3 in Cleveland, and Ed Yost talked after the game about how the offense was spread out, and that's the type of offense the Royals want, as he put it, rather than a quick hit where you get a runner here, runner there, maybe a 3-run home run. Royals want to have the offense that is putting pressure on every inning, everyone in the lineup 1 through 9. Spilborg's lost it in the lights, and the Royals have 10 hits.
Well, Ryan, when you got it going, you got it going. And when you're hot, you're hot. And then everything the Royals doing with the bat tonight are coming up smelling like roses. And here, Spilborg really does a good job of saying, man, I'm lucky I blocked this ball. But that could have got by and created more problems for the Rockies.
That is a helpless feeling, isn't it?
Oh, boy. I remember being in the Metrodome one afternoon. It was real bright and had runs on first and second, 3 and 2. Everybody's running. Pop-up goes up over me. I never see the ball. I mean, I'm just petrified. Don't know where the ball is. Just at the last 20 feet, I see it. It's only like 2 or 3 feet to my right, and I dove to my right and caught the ball. I got laid there for a little while, just getting my heart out of my throat. That's a helpless feeling.
A little prayer of thanksgiving while you were laying there on the turf?
Oh, my goodness, yes.
And this ball gets away from Olivo. Here comes Cayaspo. He is safe. And the ball is backed up by Barmes. So 2 balls going to the screen in the inning. And the Royals get the 2 runs right back.
He keeps burying this changeup down. Miguel Olivo just whiffs this ball here. He went for a backhand, didn't really get his glove turned over, kept it at the low angle. The ball went right underneath, and Cayaspo scores.
Well, the first one was a wild pitch. This will be a pass ball charged to Olivo. Still nobody out. And now 1 ball, 1 strike on Betancourt. He is 0 for 3. Last year, Miguel Olivo led the major leagues with 10 pass balls. Two balls, 1 strike. With Myers single to left, 6 consecutive games now, the Royals have had at least 10 hits. Coming into the game tonight, 2nd in the American League in hitting, trailing only the Yankees. That is out of play. Rockies trying to get back into the game. Down by 6 going into the top half of this inning, getting a 2-run home run from Clint Barmes. to make it 6-2, but the Royals get 2 back. And there's Richie Dower, who was a Royals coach for 6 years. Now the third base coach of the Rockies. For a while, the Royals had 2 of the best fielding second basemen of all time on the same coaching staff. Frank with his 8 Gold Gloves, and at one point, Rich Dower had the major league record for consecutive errorless games at second base. Still 2-2. But Richie doesn't have one of those.
Yeah, Richie was very consistent. You know, he didn't have a lot of range, but he was able to turn a double play, heads up player, made all the routine plays, and played up for good Baltimore Orioles ball clubs.
Was he at the same time that Mark Belanger was the shortstop, or was he after Belanger?
He was after.
So he was at the beginning of Cal Ripken's career?
I think Belanger was back there when Davey Johnson played second base, and he was part of the Bobby Grich era. I think he may be after Bobby Grich.
Betancourt having a long battle. Well, as Frank White taught me years ago, let's go to the book.
When in doubt.
Richie Dower, 1976 to 1985. So he crossed paths with Cal Ripken Jr.
If I'm not mistaken, the first year of free agency, Bobby Grich left Baltimore and went to the Angels as a shortstop. And I think Richie came in right after that. That's when I decided if you're going to win a Gold Glove, you better do it now, because Richie was the one winning the Gold Gloves before he decided to go to shortstop.
Puts the ball in play. So Betancourt is out. Meyer moves up to third base. 1 down. Don't forget tomorrow, if you're watching on Fox Sports Kansas City, or if you're coming out to the ballpark, tomorrow's game is at 3:10, not 6:10. Royals live beginning at 2:30. Kyle Davies against Jeff Francis, and then Sunday at 1:10. Now, those were my first years with the Royals, but I just thought that was a great coaching staff with Tony Muser as manager, and you and Richie Dower, Jamie Quirk, Lamar Johnson was the batting coach. Tom Bergmeyer was the bullpen coach. I learned a lot about the game from that coaching staff. Kevin Shank just said Bruce Keeson. That was actually the year before I got here. I believe Mark Wiley was here the first year, and then Brent Strom. But Bruce Keeson, a couple of years prior to that, was part of that same staff.
Well, it was a fun staff to be around. A very professional staff. A lot of guys had a lot of history behind them, and you know, Muser was a product of the Orioles system. Jamie, the Royal system. Richie, also of the Orioles. So it was really a good staff to put together for handling young players. It was always one of those situations where one year you got pitching, you didn't have the offense. Next you got offense, didn't have the pitching. Just couldn't get those two together.
And that coaching staff helped groom some young, unproven players like Johnny Damon, Carlos Beltran, Jermaine Dye, Mike Sweeney, Joe Randa. Kendall takes it off the elbow pad. And I don't think that hurt very much. When it hits the skin, you hear a splat. That was more of a thud.
I don't know, Ryan. Unless it hits that pad he's got on his elbow.
Perfect.
That would be
right off the pad.
So if it's 95, 96, whether it's a thud or a splat, it's going to hurt. But did he start wearing that after he got hit on the forearm and had that big, huge knot on his forearm?
No, I think he had it on before that, but that was some knot, wasn't it? That thing hit him so hard. Look, he's got all those black lines on his forearm now. Wow. Scott Pasednik 0 for 3. He has scored a run after a walk. Royals with 2 in the 4th on Jose Guillen's 2-run home run. 4 in the 7th when they batted around and Guillen homered again. And now 2 in this inning with runs scoring on a wild pitch and a pass ball. One ball, 2 strikes. Shallow center. Gonzalez has a good arm. Myers tagging. And Gonzalez's throw is just a little late. It's 9-2 KC. Pasednik picks up his 16th RBI.
This is one of those situations here where you just air it out. You just let it go. Gonzalez does make a strong throw here. Myers' speed got him in there, but Gonzalez showed us what kind of arm he has. You just get behind that ball and just air it out. He didn't really airmail it. It was a nice throw right on a nice line.
Mike Aviles, 1 out of 3. Singled home a run in the 7th inning. Obviously not a save situation, but Joakim Soria hasn't pitched since Monday, but looks like Ned Yost wants to give him another night off. Royals couldn't quite get the ball to Soria on Tuesday. And then a couple of blowout games against the Indians the last 2. Plus, you get the feeling that Kyle Farnsworth is kind of a Ned Yost project right now, trying to build his confidence back up so that he can be the pitcher that the Royals thought he'd be when they signed him a couple of years ago.
I agree. I think he sees a lot in Kyle Farnsworth, especially since he's gone to something other than just a hard fastball and a hard slider. And he had the situation in Baltimore where he sit next to him on the bench, calmed him down. They shook hands, walked away, and you kind of look at even Brian Bulletin, what he did with him, got him right back into action. So he's doing an outstanding job of building confidence.
Well, he's going to come in with a 7-run lead to the 9th. And it seems like the Royals have been out of town forever. But the Royals tonight beginning a stretch of 12 of the next 16 at Kauffman Stadium, and the next 5 in a row, 3 with Colorado and then 2 with Texas. So Kyle Farnsworth trying to clean up the end of this game with a 7-run lead. Brian Bannister gives up just 2 runs and 7 in a third. Blake Wood with a very good outing, getting a couple of outs on just 4 pitches. And Farnsworth will get Brad Hopp, Miguel Olivo, and Ryan Spilborghs. One strike to Hopp, who singled back in the second inning. And on that play, Troy Tulowitzki tried to go first to third. David DeJesus threw him out. And that's really the only thing that the Rockies had going, or any kind of potential rally, until they scored 2 runs on the home run from Barmes in the 8th inning. That's a play where a big play on defense can really turn the inning around. The Rockies had 3 hits in that second inning, but no runs. Right on the corner. 100 miles an hour on the corner, no less.
Now this is Kyle Farnsworth. He's more than capable of doing this, especially with proper rest. But to be able to command that fastball at that speed, that's what's impressive. But this is a game of momentum, though. I agree with you. If Tulowitzki's not thrown out going to third in the first inning, that might be a totally different game for Brian Bannister. And you get little things like that as you build the momentum, and I think he just fed on that and just pitched his game and really just did a good job of keeping the ball off the bats. Even a lot of those ground balls into the bats, jam shots, he really didn't get hit hard at all.
Now 2 batters later, after the play at third base, Ryan Spilborghs singled, so that would have scored a run. It's been a tough night so far for Miguel Olivo in his return to Kansas City. 0 for 2 with a strikeout, and then a couple of runs scoring for the Royals in the bottom of the 8th. 1 on a wild pitch, 1 on a pass ball in a 3-run 8th inning. Farnsworth trying to blow him away with a fastball and missed badly. 2-2. Hit hard to left field, and Posednik has it drop in front of him. Olivo will hold with a single.
This is Kyle Farnsworth, Brian, just trying to come up with another pitch, and that was a 90-mile-an-hour cutter. He left it up, and when you got a fastball that he's commanding at 98 to 100 miles an hour, you don't want to trick a guy right here. You just want to go right after him and try to close this game up.
Oh, 0-1 on Ryan Spilborghs, who's 1 for 3. Could easily be 2 for 3. Yuniesky Betancourt made a nice play on him in the 5th inning. 97 miles an hour. So the Royals are 2 outs away from winning their 7th game in their last 9. Down goes Spilborghs. Again, 100 miles an hour on the corner. Hang with him.
And that's what I'm talking about, Ryan. When you've got that kind of command with that kind of speed, you got a 7-run lead, you don't want to mess around. You want to close down the shop and go home.
So Ned Yost, one of the first things he said at his press conference after taking the job was to get this team to start thinking about getting back to 500. And they're 1 out away from being 7 games back off of Kendall's glove, and Olivo goes to second base. Let's go back to Tuesday in Baltimore, and this is what we were referring to when Ned Yost talked to a very upset Kyle Farnsworth, but this is when the conversation ended. As Frank said, a handshake and a sincere grin. About 90 seconds before that conversation, Kyle Farnsworth looked like he was going to tear the dugout to shreds.
And probably could.
Hard slider is inside. Boy, slider at 91 miles an hour. There are pitchers who would die just to have a fastball at 91.
So that would be your average fastball by Major League standards.
.99. So he has 2 strikeouts on fastballs at 100. And now a chance to strike out the side. Took a little off at 98.
Just a little.
Big crowd watching tonight of 24,807. And Ned Yost has the Royals on a roll. 1 strike away from going 6-2 on his watch. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Off the end of the bat, and Farnsworth throws him out. So 2 strikeouts and then a good defensive play to end the game. So the Royals are 6-2 under Ned Yost. And if you go back to Trey Hillman's last game, now the Royals have won 7 of their last 9. Final score tonight, Royals over the Rockies 9-2. Let's get a preview of Boulevard Royals. Okay.